nikupe vya kukupagawisha. Masabuti Kenya 001.
SHI RKO Media.
Sosiri nimeshoboka, nataka nibaki nawe, nahisi nimetamani nikupe vya kukupagawisha.
Nishakuna unavyonyemelea, I'm not your ordinary girl. Chunga
kuhisia umezikoroga, na macho haya nagapazia, tanasha umeniroga, we dada.
Masauti, don't rush. You can look baby but you can't touch. Nasikupi, yani mpaka nikuelewe.
So kama nakunyemelea, nikamoyo kangu kamelegea, mapenzi mazoea, ukininyima upendo nitachanganyikiwa. Oh no 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 no, ninakupenda kikweli. Oh no 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 no, miso wale matapeli. Oh no 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 no, ukiniacha nitafeli. Oh no 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 no, oh no.
If you're serious, prove it to me, I'm curious, I wanna know. Sitaki michezo nawe, uchezea moyo.
Moyo wangu kipenda, unapenda kweli, nilosema na maanisha.
And I see what you say, you could be playing me, kando unanitisha.
Siwezi kukutenda wala kukejeli, janja wote kwangu umenisha.
I know you've been trying, but boy don't you lie to me.
Sitokudanganya.
Masauti, don't rush. You can look baby but you can't touch. Nasikupi, yani mpaka nikuelewe.
So kama nakunyemelea, nikamoyo kangu kamelegea, mapenzi mazoea, usininyime upendo, niamini.
Oh no no no, sipa. Oh no no no, I'm not that easy, nimechill. Oh no no no, I'm good, I can pay my own bill. Oh no 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 no. You are a liar.
Oh no, I know.
Oh yes, you are.
Good afternoon.
Oh no, I know.
Grand Rising. 3 minutes past the top of the hour. You're doing amazing today. Sauti featuring International Donna. Right in the middle of the 21st century. Liar is the name of the jam.
You're now listening to the best music all day, every day.
Yes, I hope you guys are doing amazing, and welcome to yet another beautiful conversation right here on the middle of the 21st century. Blackout Fire Network. I hope your week so far is fantastic. 4 minutes past the top of the hour, and welcome to yet another beautiful conversation with me, your host, JLBY, and shout out to everyone who's with us here for the first time. In case you're here for your first time, karibu sana, and do feel welcome by joining us officially by downloading our app on the Google Play Store. Wishing you a beautiful week ahead and a beautiful month ahead. Happy new month. Still fresh, and I hope so far 2026 is amazing to you. I hope you've accomplished the things that you've literally been wanting and you're proud of yourself. But of course, speaking about being proud, well, let us be proud about the African heritage and culture. Today we're going to be focusing on a conversation I actually promised to bring. I was not able to find actually videos on a full scale, that can explain and break down things the way I actually expected or imagined, because I do understand this information is barely among us so many generations today. So many people don't know actually how to pass this information. But we still do have a group of people in the Timbuktu region who actually still tap into this particular information. And the video I was listening to, actually, it was being narrated or documented by a white person. So personally, I felt some type of way about it. And I just don't like the breakdown, and it's coming from a white person at this particular point, because some things they're better explained by the people who understand this culture and heritage itself. So we're going to be talking about that, the African traditional masks, how they were very important, how the white people came and lied to us, stole actually also most of them from us, put so many stereotypes and myths about this traditional mask, and also our culture, which has affected us to who we are as a people, and also the role they played. That is what we're going to be focusing on today. But on our news today, starting with the conversation, we're going to be starting with what is happening in Burkina Faso. As we can see, Burkina Faso has been listed as one among the countries added to the global watch list. Of course, we know this is what it is all about. Much more of the conversation coming from Kenya. We have the president who has announced free public university education starting September, and we know also what this is all about. And much more of the conversation also coming from Africa. We have in Ethiopia just a video that has sparked or other going viral currently because of how the Ethiopians are reacting when they see tourists. And the question is, should this be normalized? Should this be the norm? How Africans should have reacted long time ago when we see invaders. That's what we're going to be actually discussing as well today. And part of the conversation, we're going to be looking at also how Mali is benefiting of its resources. We've seen the Alliance Sahel states so far doing amazing, unlike countries like Uganda, who held a whole ceremony to actually unveil a statue of Netanyahu's older brother. We're going to be focusing on that as well. But part of our conversation, or main conversation, is about the Africa traditional mask. So karibuni sana, and remember to keep yourself healthy. As we come back with the conversations of today, kindly do remember to stay healthy. And remember, you can stay healthy by actually checking. Just take a peep. You might not be having everything you want, or maybe some of the things you want, but by you checking, you can actually keep us on the know on what we can add on the cart. And of course, through that, we'll be appreciative if you support us, of course, by purchasing these products. We have amazing products, all organic, vitamins, proteins, skincare products. But for this conversation, to keep it short, we take Brain and Focus, because again, critical thinking
Unlock
is
your
not
full
with us
potential with
anymore.
Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
And as we get started with today's conversation, we're going to be focusing on Burkina Faso as our first topic of the day, or rather the conversation of the day. We've seen that actually the country has been added to the global watch list over the shrinking civic freedom. And of course, pardon me. Of course, I had to go check what global, of course, the global watch list, what it means, to understand. We don't jump into conclusions of, the white people without understanding what they really, mean. So, of course, looking at that, the international watch list, actually, it's called the international watch list. Yeah. It is typically refers to security databases, humanitarian crisis rankings, or political indexes. The most prominent examples include International Rescue Committee, Emergency Watch List, and International Crisis Group Watch List, and Government Managed Security Sanction List. I think from there we're good. So, why has Burkina Faso been added on this? According to their media, I understand recently we saw that was what's it called? Canal Plus. Yeah, we saw Canal Plus, which is a French-owned media, who were actually, of course, fined because of accessing the Free State media, which is not allowed. These people were kicked out, told to kick rocks, because all they spread is propaganda about the country, never about the achievements that Ibrahim Traore is doing, never about how many number of times they're trying to assassinate him. It's never part of their media, but it's part of their media to actually consistently keep on reporting about the negative things that happen in Africa, not actually just Burkina Faso. And that's the problem we have till to date. Africa doesn't have many, we don't even actually have those problems that they keep on putting on media. And the problems we have, if left alone, if these people just leave us alone, these are things actually we can solve as a people, as a community, as a country, tribeless and partyless and even leaderless. If Africans left alone, and we understand we only have us, we can actually work together and fix our country. But the problem is that the fact that the white people keep on putting these images about our continent to benefit them so that they can keep on staying here. That's the thing. To stay here. It's not to help us, to benefit us in any sort of way. But Burkina Faso has been added to an international watch list of countries where civic freedom are deteriorating. The rights group Civicus says that the move reflects what it describes as an escalating crackdown on political opposition, civic society organizations, and government crisis. Civicus, which monitors civic freedom in 198 countries and territories, has kept Burkina Faso in its repressed category and the second most restrictive rating on its scale. The countries joined Bahrain, Ecuador, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Georgia, and India on the organization's latest watch list. The rights group also say Burkina Faso military authorities have shut down more than 1,100 civic society organizations, dismantled all political parties, and intensified reprisal against government critics. And what's the problem in doing that? What's the problem in shutting down 1,100 civic society organizations, which of course they're not helping the country in any sort of way, but creating division, dismantling all political parties, which we've seen, and we keep on talking about how they are actually promoting tribalism and division amongst the African people or within the country itself. What's the problem in actually getting rid of that? Didn't we see copy and paste again? Okay, this is what Magufuli did, trying to protect his people, and done the same thing, and they got rid of him. They got rid of him. When Samia Suluhu came back, everything that Magufuli was against, she returned them. Now look at Tanzania today. What just happened the previous election? The previous and the first election after Magufuli passed away. Copy and paste. That is the same thing. So what's the problem in actually getting rid of political parties? We've not seen the Burkinabe people complaining about this. Oh, it's just the white media. And also saying that this intensified reprisals against government. What? Of course. You're the number one criticizers of countries which are working. So when we're trying to shut down people who are criticizing a working system, that's also a problem. Why people? It alleges that the crackdown has included arrest, censorship, and enforced disappearance. That is a lie, which is a lie. These are the same people who are paying terrorists, who they are paying young people who are desperate from different countries to get in through the border so that they can come and kill and rape, and so that they can blame it on Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore not being able of managing his security. But he told you. The good thing is that he's educating his people to keep them on the know, how these people put up propagandas, how they are so good at damaging your image. Yep, he's teaching the people. They're saying that the Savicas says that political parties whose activities were suspended after the military seized power in September 2022 were formally dissolved in January 2026. Burkina Faso military government has not responded to the group's report. Of course, why should you? The latest report comes weeks after the United Nations announced plans to permanently close its human rights office in Burkina Faso in November. Yeah, because they were told what? To kick rocks. There's nothing they're doing in the country rather than raping women and children. What are they doing in Burkina Faso? What are you doing? What evidence do we have to show that actually you've been creating something positive or bringing something positive towards the African people? Where you are, largely. Reports are the same. Raping, killing, there's nothing you're doing, and protecting the resources that are being extracted from that country. The closure means that there will no longer be an independent international body based in the country to document alleged human rights violation as the conflict continues. Where? You mean that the closure means there will no longer be an independent body based in the country to document lies? That's what you're trying to say? In February 2026, Burkina Faso authorities suspended the United Nations Human Rights Office shortly after UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk called on the government to end its repression on the civic freedom, which again was a lie, because there's no anything like oppression. There's nothing like oppression going on in Burkina Faso. There's multiple evidences showing people are happy of the positive results that this man is actually doing to change the country and the lives of the people. We saw recently the buses, the roads. There's free healthcare system working there. Already there's schools are free. There's electricity being put up in every county and every country. Even the villagers are not being left out. Everyone, that's what they're mad about. You want to see Africans at the bottom so bad. So bad. You can never make up this kind of pleasure with white people, how they find pleasure in seeing Africans suffering. The Civicus report also comes as Burkina Faso, alongside Mali and Niger, prepares to leave the International Criminal Court. Of course. And which is so the International Criminal Court replying, oh, this is no. Why can't you let countries stand independently? We see what can unfold, what can happen when they are left alone. You must interfere in every affair, trying to prove your point, which is never valid. And that is what you hate so much, because Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali are proving you guys wrong in front of the world. In front of the whole world. In front of the whole goddamn world. And what even pains you most is that you cannot control information as much as you used to back then. People now are the media. There's access of smartphones. Should have known better. You should have known better. If it's to keep Africa poor, you should have ensured these smartphones don't get here, because the people have become the media. We're recording and posting everything, okay? You switch off the internet, you don't, I'll still have it on my phone and I'll upload it when the internet is back or when I can access it. And the videos will go viral. There's someone who's going to repost it. There's someone who's going to share. And the whole world is going to see what is happening in my country. So that's what is also paining you the most. You're being proven wrong in front of the world. That Africa can fully actually manage itself if we have the right leaders and if left alone. The human rights groups also warn that the move could further weaken accountability for allegedly abuses by state forces and armed groups across the 3 countries and the wider Sahel region, which is a goddamn lie. Let's look at actually, of course, the comments. Some people are saying this is the Western media propaganda. They are planning to destroy the country's new government. Exactly. People know so much right now. You cannot keep on lying to us about, oh, you know, this and that. We're seeing. We don't need you to tell us anymore. We can see it by ourselves. Someone says, as long as the country is working and improving for its own people, leave it alone. And they won't. Exactly, they won't. Someone says, of course, the white man will twist the narrative and create a problem where their ideologies are not welcomed. Exactly. Exactly. Someone says, we're also familiar with this script. Very familiar. We are very familiar with this script. It's not the first time we're seeing this script. This script is a copy and paste of countries with leaders who are who are saying no to white man's agenda. We're not going to let you tell us what to do. You go tell your people what to do. Go fix your own country. Why are you coming to tell me what to do with my country? I make the choices. I should decide what's good and what's bad for the people. Who are you to tell me how to treat and what to do? And it's not even anything helpful. Other people also say Western countries, your approval or validation is not required. Exactly. And another person, I'm going to read maybe 3, 4, 5 comments as I jump to the next conversation about Mali. Still news happening in the Alliance Sahel state. Someone says, I don't have enough knowledge to comment on whether this is true or not. Okay, you pass, you can go, or if you don't understand what is happening. Someone says Israel is committing genocide and no sanctions. And they focus on Burkina Faso. Exactly. Why? Honestly, let's not start bailing up stories to start wars in Africa. That is what they are doing already. This is all propaganda, because they want to get hold of Burkina Faso back so bad. The whole of the Alliance Sahel region. They want to get hold of these resources that are benefiting the country and the people. Because what do you mean now Burkina Faso, majority of the parts have roads, lights, and the country is working and people are employed? Are you kidding? Of course, that's a trigger to someone who has been playing a certain narrative or applied a certain narrative for so long and it's been working, and now finding someone who is even not just leading and doing, but educating the people about the true colors of who we deal with, and telling you how the rest of Africa is suffering, because it's the same problem, the same narrative, the same image, always quoted by the white person, never by us Africans writing our story. Always a white man in our business. On the other end, we have mining, which in that is in Mali. They're saying that Mali could rise up, that is to $883 million from recent mining reforms to help fund energy, water, transport projects, according to the country's finance minister. This tells you these countries are properly using their resources. Not this bullshit we see with Ruto and the rest of these other puppets. These countries are using their resources. Recently, we had Burkina Faso, which generated also so much. I'll be giving you just a few, the information just in a few, but let's take a look at what is happening.
Mali could raise up to $883 million from recent mining reforms to help fund energy, water, and transport projects, according to the country's finance minister. Finance Minister Aluseni Sanu said state television that the new infrastructure development fund had mobilized about $194 million between January 1st, 2025 and June 30th, 2026. Officials said in December that a government audit had recovered about 1.3.
Now, if you look at this and if you look at this and what we were talking about yesterday about Kenya, I mean, these are the people themselves doing the work, no Chinese here. And as a matter of fact, understand, was it Mali or Niger? One of the two, they had a back and forth with one of the mining companies that was here extracting resources without even permits or expired permits, and made them pay. They made them pay. There was a back and forth, and then I think it was Niger, and they won. Niger won the case. So take a look at this and the difference between this and majority of the African countries, Nigeria, Kenya, DRC, a very big difference.
$3 billion in alleged arrears from mining companies. It is a clear sign yet of how the military government plans to use the windfall from its 2023 mining code overhaul, which increased royalties and boosted the state's stake in mining projects. Those changes have already triggered disputes with operators, including Canada's Barrick.
Yeah, so that is what is happening in Mali. And looking at Burkina Faso, actually, Burkina Faso has generated roughly $18 billion in total gold revenue since the transitional government led by Ibrahim Traore took power in 2022. $18 billion. And alongside and officially, this was the new statement I think I read this year or this month, last month, alongside and officially recorded $6 billion during just the first half of 2026. So generally 18 billion, but in just first half of 2026, we have 6 billion if left alone again. Imagine how much you can really do. So much. Not like Ruto, who is looking for, of course, because he's looking for votes and he's arresting people. He's been threatened. There's a man who was abducted yesterday because of, saying Ruto is going to go home. So he's really, shout out to someone who said we have a very insecure president, a very, very insecure president. So currently he's offering free public university education. This is actually after months. Take you back in 2024, when majority of the people actually turned out on the streets, not only are they youths, but also majority are students. Students who are also working and paying bills at the same time, because the Gen Zs are multitasking everything, I'm telling you. Go to school, go to work, pay bills, So the same people who are on the streets demanding reduction of tax, they were also actually demonstrating about the HELB. We call it the HELB, where actually there is a certain, I think it's about a certain amount, I think the loan given to the university students, and it was, I think, increased or removed. Can't remember clearly, because there's been just issues since Ruto came into power. University students not getting these funds. So now he's offering free public university education. Why? Because he's looking for votes. Of course, he's looking for votes. Ruto is looking for votes. This is not just something that is going to last for the next 5 years, and even if he becomes a president. This is for the votes. The Kenyan President William Ruto has announced that public university education will be fully funded by the government at the beginning of September 2026 intake, marking a major shift in the country's higher education policy. Under the new plan, all students who qualify for admission to public university colleges and the Kenya Medical Training College will have their tuition covered, replacing their previous income-based funding model. And the government says that the reforms are intended to ensure that no eligible student is denied higher education because of financial hardships, which is a goddamn lie. Let me just take you to TikTok just very quickly. We hear the Kenyans' opinion, because for those who understand, we know very well, this is just for election. This, you're going to pay, yes, it's going to be free, probably till the time of election, and then after election, that deal is taken away. You go back to your pocket. It's not going to be throughout your course or whatever you're learning. You go back to your pocket. Let's see. Let's see, just a minute. Shout out to you, Jiba Jaba. We're doing great today.
It will not matter the background of any child in Kenya. It will matter.
Do you know how many children we have in the streets who have not gone to school today, leave alone university? Do you know how many children we have in the streets who cannot go to school because free public of education is being taken away now. Okay, leave alone that. Okay, fine. Do you know how many counties we have in Kenya? We just talked about this last week. Do not have schools. Students are studying under trees. Do you know how many counties in this country people don't have schools? But he's talking about it will not matter where you come from, you will have access of education. Let's start with the minor ones. Let's start with the minor children. Why can't we build boarding schools, accommodative enough, government funded, with beds, food, everything, clothes, where all the children in the streets, if they cannot be taken to rehab for those who have used drugs so much, let them be taken to school. Like you see the children's home we went, that is actually, I loved it because that is what I believe they're doing. Rescuing children, and that school has a boarding. Those children sleep there, they eat there. That is what they know and consider as home. So why can't we have such government-funded programs? And they could be so many, and they could be so helpful. They could be so helpful. We have no goddamn idea. So helpful. They can be so helpful. Man, I have to figure out how I'm gonna do that personally. I have to figure out, but I'll figure out with time. Yeah, things will align. But yeah, they could be so helpful. Because when I'm thinking about it, you can, I don't know, maybe you can get a land. If not a land, find someone maybe with the same interest, put up funds, buy a certain place, a hall or something. It starts with something small, and then you just go rescuing children. I don't know how it works. I gotta do research on all that. But shit, yeah, I believe it can work. Like, there's so many kids who can be rescued in the streets. We have so many kids out here who don't have parents. Some of their parents are into drugs because they're also street children. They're kids who are having kids in the streets. So why won't you do that first? You're talking about university people. It doesn't matter where you're coming from.
How good they are only. So going forward, any university, any student, so long as they have passed their exam and they have been placed in a college or a university, each one of them will get full funding for their higher education. It will be the choice of parents if they want to pay. But if parents don't want to pay, we now have a model that will pay for.
Do you hear the double standards? What do you mean it will be the choice of the parents to pay, yet you're saying this is going to be free? What? Okay, wait. What do you mean? What do you mean it's going to be the choice of the parent to pay, yet this is supposed to be free? So why should a parent go back to their pocket? So, okay, there are some stuffs I'll have to pay still, despite this being free. Oh my God.
Every child. And we are doing it because we want to be deliberate. Countries that are ahead of us, that we were together, had high quality education.
Countries like this country had high quality education before you became president. God damn it.
Education was a central pillar
in this country, which you're taking away.
My team tells me that education makes us equal and has no equal. Do you remember that phrase somewhere? That is where we are taking this. And I want to implore on Parliament to expedite the amendments to the Higher Education Laws Board so that beginning September, we can make sure that any child, because we have incidences, for example, where a child from an underprivileged family who qualifies to do medicine fails to do medicine because their parents cannot afford to pay the household contribution and have to change to go and do a different course. We want to stop that. We want to make sure that if
and then after you graduate, you end up being jobless. Okay? Yeah, free and all that. But after you graduate, you end up being jobless. You end up again in the same cycle of begging, hoping, wishing, promises, nothing being delivered. Education is for the equal, is for the... Then create employment. By the time I'm done with this education, I have a job ready. I have offices I can go do interviews and be accepted without tribalism, nepotism, connections, and anything, based on my skills and education. But that doesn't matter. It's crazy. On this other end, before we get to our main conversation, we have Uganda's military, which has unveiled a statue of Netanyahu's brother. This was a whole ceremony. A whole ceremony.
A ceremony in Uganda to unveil a statue of the Israeli Prime Minister's older brother.
How? Make this make sense. We have bigger problems to deal with. This man just told people to sweep the streets, to have cleaning day, and there are no roads. But put up a whole ceremony to unveil us. What is Netanyahu's brother statue doing in Uganda? For what? How is it helping Ugandans' history? This should be just for laughs.
Netanyahu was killed during a hostage rescue operation in the East African country in 1976. The statue was unveiled by a Ugandan military chief who hailed Netanyahu's character.
It is a great honor and privilege to join
Captain Crunch
you
crunching
at this historic site as we unveil this monument to Lieutenant
because they're saying, Joby, good morning. I gotta say this. I didn't mean it comes. I'm not even gonna go there with this because the puppets are saying, "We with you, white daddy. We know you control us." If you guys remember, Idi Amin killed. I think that was one of the dudes they killed. Idi Amin killed them because they invaded the country and were trying to overthrow him. And he was murdered. No, he was killed, not murdered, because Netanyahu's brother invaded Kenya. That's when these Jays can do what they want to do. So they invaded Uganda. I think it was like 74, 75, something like that. They raided. Most Africans don't know this. Israel invaded Uganda, and I think he got killed in the raid. And so he's being bootlicking niggas, Museveni and his Captain Crunch son. And said, we know white daddy. We know you run the world, and we're just gonna celebrate and let us stay in power because my dad is old and I want to be the president too. So that's what Joby saying. Why are they doing it? Because they know, because he's a moron, Joby. He's scared they're gonna get rid of his ass. His dad's an idiot, but he's been a faithful idiot. And allowed the Jays to keep stealing from them. So that's what that's about. So he's probably going to find out, say, as Google this, Joe, say that did Netanyahu's brother get killed raid in the Ugandan raid in the 70s? I think he's one of the ones that got killed in the raid when the Israelis raided Idi Amin's government. And now the handkerchief heads like, it's okay, white daddy. We know you invaded us. It's okay. We're goopy niggas. Okay, so exactly, I knew it. So that's what happened. Because Israel invaded and raided Uganda illegally. So he was killed during the raid. But these puppet ass niggas See, you never, Africa, if you're this stupid, you don't see these are puppets, you don't know what, these are puppets. These people invaded Uganda, raided it. But these puppet niggas, oh, we're gonna make a statue. When you imagine me, that's like me invading Joby's home, she fight me, and then later on, her damn kids put a statue of me up in the house. This Captain Crunch nigga here, this moron, is telling you, my daddy's probably gonna be close to dead, but look at me, I put a statue of your brother. Remember that I did that, so I can be your new puppet. I'm ready to be the puppet. Right, Joe, but this don't even make any sense. But see, most Ugandans don't even know this history, because it's back in the 70s. They put no book. But Sam ain't never talked about it with his no good rotten ass. But they're actually making statues of people who tried to overthrow the government. Imagine this. This is how backward Africa is. The laughing stock these niggas have become. This is debaucherous, traitorous. That's why they all gotta get bubble gum. That's why this cowardly ass moron here, a general of what? This is Captain Crunch Army. Everywhere outside Uganda, they laugh in his face. General of what? Go ahead, Joe.
And ultimate sacrifice during the Entebbe raid of 4th July 1976 has become an enduring symbol of courage, duty, and selfless service.
Wow, can you imagine this? Somebody raided his country, and that's duty. And then, imagine that shit. And that's why they say the Africans are fucking stupid and moronic and supposed to be rude. This is what they told Ibn Toure about Africans. Shit like this. Said you people are cursed, you're backward, and you're stupid. And they told him, you're supposed to be ruled by us because you're stupid as fuck. That's what they told Ibn to his face. And he's the only one that told you honestly. That's what they told him. Your people are stupid, your people are dumb, they're easily manipulated, and we're gonna throw your ass out of it, and we'll rule them with an iron fist, with a boot on their head, because they're stupid. That's what they told him in his face. And this is what they showed you. This is the dumbest shit you ever seen. He just celebrates somebody who invaded and tried to overthrow Uganda.
Criticism of Ugandan dictator Idi Amin, who had severed ties with Israel.
Yeah, but Idi Amin. Yep.
Of course, we know that the government of Idi Amin, which they served, was a brutal dictatorship which
Another
did
lie.
not represent the Ugandan people in any way.
Lie.
Today, however, Uganda is a constitutional democracy committed.
It's a constitutional democracy with a nigga that's been in power for 40 years. See how the scam works? The lies. Who you lying to? You're not a constitutional democracy. Because don't nobody be president for 40 years. Ain't no democracy ever. We'll say it with a statement. We're constitutional democracy by white people who let us be in power for 40 years because we don't do shit. Our roads are fucked up. Our schools are fucked up. We're impoverished. And all the money goes to white people. So we get to call ourselves a democracy. And we get to play, like Joe said, nepotism and be in power. And we're stupid. We're backward as fuck. The rest of the world knows we're stupid. They know Museveni's a moron. They know I'm a moron. But we get a money to white daddy, white Jewish daddy. And so we can stay in power.
It's crazy. That is what lack of education does. Because if Uganda was had like an education, the one we got like from Kibaki, we'd have the same generation of Gen Zs who are willing to fight for change. Because
but there was no Kibaki, Joby. There was Museveni.
Exactly.
The books are still telling you that the Belgian, as Sento told me, the books are still praising the raping and the killing of African people. And I said, what? Sento's books are Yankee, not history book. It says that the Belgian king, what's that Belgian king name? I gotta look him up, but who chopping off hands and killing Africans and enslaved them in the Congo was a good guy. What? King, whatever that guy's name, King, whatever the Belgian king name, King Leopold, this Richard ass, psychopathic ass, no good bastard. But it's in the history books of Ugandans. Wow.
It's crazy. But as we get into the main conversation, family, of course, I had a conversation I promised I'm going to bring it to you. And I didn't find so much details again as I expected. And I believe, again, it's because of this information has been completely tapped out from us as Africans, you know, because this is all rooted to who we are, our beliefs spiritually, and as African people generally, you know, in everything, how we present ourselves. Talking about the African masks, last week I did hint a few conversations about it, and I said I'm gonna try do a full conversation about it as we learn about some of them. So, of course, again, I've not been able to find a whole wide range of information about all these masks, but I do believe they still exist, if you ask me. I do believe there's still some communities in Africa and every African country that still hold these spiritual beliefs, but at a very low percentage. At a very low percentage, because so many people have been, of course, with the help of the white man, I'm going to say that, he has destroyed us completely to believe that this is witchcraft. You know, this is nothing to do with us. This is, you know, evil beliefs. You're not supposed to be having anything to do with this. So with the African people who have, even over the years, who have been having these traditional beliefs or, you know, spiritual deeds preserved to them, it has been completely taken away from them because white men having this narrative of this is witchcraft. Now, if you're found in a village, you are attacked and killed. This has become a problem because in many African countries, this is something that happens. You can't actually openly, widely be known you practice or
you're attacked and killed, but yet those masks are worth millions of dollars are now up in the museums of France, Britain, Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Austria, and Switzerland. Those masks are being displayed and making white people millions of dollars. But in Africa with you, your mind is so fucked up, so you've been made so anti-African that you'll be killed for being African. Make it make sense.
It's crazy. So let's share this as we start or continue.
Long before Africa was divided by borders, languages, or foreign flags, there was a time when the land itself breathed with spirit. Every rustle of wind in the tall grass carried whispers.
I really tried my best to find a video done by an African on the ground showing us there's nothing.
It's gonna be rough, Joby, because you lost yourself. Exactly. You can't. You try to use discernment, use the best white man you can. It's gonna be a little biased, of course, but that's all you can do. Remember, the Africans have been devoid of their own self. That's why you got all the problems in Africa. The African has been taken away from self, Joby. Your own self. Hatred of self, which is masterful, keeps you impoverished, keeps you backward, keeps you worshiping other people who hate your ass. It is the most brilliantly wicked shit I think ever been done to a people.
From the ancestors. Every thunderclap was believed to be the voice of gods, speaking to those who still listened. In that age, when man and spirit walked side by side, the ancestors did not die. They transformed. They crossed the thin line between the visible and the unseen and took refuge in masks. Across the vast lands of the Yoruba, the Dogon, the Benin, and the Ashanti, sacred masks were never mere ornaments. They were portals, windows through which spirits could gaze upon the living and walk once again among their descendants. The people believed that when the mask was worn, the man beneath disappeared. In his place stood the ancestor, proud, ancient, and powerful. Through
and the funny thing about this, we know this is actually by science, faction. That's how deeply the African was so fucking intelligent. It's crazy. You go back and actually learn. It's fucking like these motherfuckers were brilliant, but you're too stupid now to know how brilliant African people are. these motherfuckers were brilliant. Because this is all neural and what they call quantum physics. It's all factual. But how do they know this? You go on the walls of Kemet today, and they understood what they call the waters of noon. They were explaining quantum physics 5,000 years ago. You're like, these motherfuckers were super geniuses. White man talking about some dirty cracker with a dirty suit walking on water nonsense. Young people knew actual science. How things actually really work. It is the most brilliant shit. You're like, wow, how they know? You're like, how did they know this? Not supposedly say, how did they know these things? Because we know it's a fact. Because we know what they renamed spirituality called it quantum physics. We know what the ancestors knew in Africa was real. It's science. Not no witchcraft, not no superstition. It's science. So you imagine how advanced they were? There's I'm gonna show it tonight on our show. They were so advanced. The Africans knew how the very existence of the universe starts. It is like, what the fuck? But anyway, go ahead, Jim. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
The dead could breathe again. Among the Yoruba, this sacred return was called the Igungan, the power concealed. Each year, when the dry season met the first rains, the villagers prepared for the great dance of the ancestors. Men who had fasted, purified, and sworn oaths would enter secret groves. And there, away from mortal eyes, the priests awakened the masks. The masks were not made, they were born. Carved from sacred wood, blessed with animal blood, and dressed in the cloth of lineage, each mask represented a family's ancestral spirit. And once the dancer wore it, the veil between worlds shattered. Children hid behind their mothers. The air thickened with unseen presence. The ancestor had returned. They say when the Igungan dances, the ground itself listens. His feet never truly touch the soil, because they are no longer human. Each step echoes from the world of the living into the world of the dead. And every twirl sends blessings or warnings from the unseen realm.
Understand? So remember, the European is a moron, especially back then. He didn't know shit. A filthy, savage people come see this. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know how to do it. What is this? What is this stuff these niggas are doing? Remember, they're too stupid and savage. They're not intellectually able to understand this, so they just label it witchcraft. It's a craft of witches. Remember, because they thought everything was witches. Remember, because Europeans are superstitious. Witchcraft is witchcraft. This is science. That's why I told you why you got the CIA running around in Africa today, trying to find the real people who still know what this shit does. Because it's actual science. It's real. This is real. Because Africans are connected the spiritual to the source of the universe, the creator. The feminine source. Yeah, God is mostly a woman. Sorry. That's what evidence shows. That the creator of the universe is a woman. And a man, but more than that, but mostly female. That's what evidence shows. That's why the first person on the planet is a female, not a man. Facts. Anyway, this stuff is science. But the African lost the knowledge of this. By the time the European showed up, he probably lost the knowledge to explain it. It just became traditional. Because we were going through a sleep period. Universally, we were going through a sleep. A part of being retarded. Retardation, the African was going through a sleep, a loss of knowledge. But this is all science. And it's advanced, high spiritual science. The most brilliant shit. And me seeing as a kid, like, whoa, that do like witch stuff. Because I was too stupid to know what it is. But you understand, everything's connected. Trees talk. Trees are living things. That's why they went to a certain tree and carved it from a certain tree. Trees are living spiritual beings. Trees talk and can hear you. White people can't do it. They're talking to a tree. Yeah. Africans talk to trees. You know why? Trees live. They're living beings that can talk to you. And you can talk to it. Yeah, that's how deep this shit goes. But you be low vibrational, you can't. You gotta be high in spirit, godly to do it. They told you, oh, that's witchcraft, it's bad. No, it's science. Go ahead, Joby.
For those who wronged the family or broke ancestral laws, the Igungans dance could turn fierce. The mask would leap toward the guilty, striking them with sacred whips, cleansing or punishing the soul. Yet for those pure in heart, the same dance brought fortune, healing, and protection. The idea of the mask as a living being did not belong only to one people. Far north in Mali, among the Dogon, masks told the story of creation itself. They believed the first mask was carved by Amma, the creator god, after forming the universe. The mask became the bridge between heaven and earth, between men and their star ancestors, the Nommo, celestial beings of light and water. Each Dogon mask represented a cosmic truth. The Kanaga mask with its double cross was the path of the sun across the sky. The Siraj mask, towering meters high,
now we know, pause it. Now we know the Dogon come out of Kemet, came out of ancient Egypt. Kemet never called no fucking Egypt. And the people up there, not people got the shit today, those are not African. We know Kemetians also live in Kenya. Live down in, because they spread it out. We know they went to Mali. We know they went to Kenya. We know they went to South Africa, which became the Zulu later on. We know all these tribes split up, became different tribes, leaving Kemet as the savage barbarians invaded. So we know that ancient Kemet is in Kenya. Ancient Kemet is in South Africa. Ancient Kemet is in Mali. That's why you know you're the same people. All these borders are fake. That's why you see the traditions are similar. Through time and space, they take on a different form, but they're similar in practice because you're the same people. So, as in all the ancient texts, the Kemetians used to always talk about Mount Kenya. I forget they called it Mount Kenya back then, but that was Mount Kenya, where they would take the king down to that part of Africa in Kenya and do ceremonies around that mountain. He said, African facts. Go ahead, Joe.
World, the earth, and the heavens. To the Dogon, wearing these masks was not a performance. It was a sacred science, a reenactment of cosmic balance. When a man died, the Dogon held elaborate Dharma ceremonies. The masks came alive, dancing for days to guide the soul of the deceased back to the realm of ancestors. Without this ceremony, the soul could wander lost, trapped between life and death. Through mask and motion, they opened the gates, ensuring the spirit found peace, and the village remained in harmony. So you see, to ancient Africa, a mask was never wood and paint. It was spirit, memory, and transformation. In Benin, the sacred masks were symbols of royal power. The Oba's court guarded ivory and bronze masks of their divine queens, like Queen Idia, whose spirit was said to protect the kingdom from invasion. Her mask, carved in white ivory, symbolized purity, wisdom, and ancestral strength. When the Oba wore it during war or ritual, the spirit of Idia fought beside him, unseen but unstoppable. When Europeans first saw these masks, they called them art. But they were wrong. They were not art, they were alive.
They were too stupid.
Every every inlay, every bead was part of a spiritual technology, a way to summon presence from the invisible world. Many Africans still believe that the ancestors never truly left. They simply changed form, taking residence in sacred objects, in dreams, in trees, rivers, and yes, in masks. That is why elders say, treat the mask with respect, for you do not know which ancestor watches through its eyes. Every culture had its version. The Choku people of Angola carved masks to honor the spirits of founders and warriors. The Punu of Gabon made serene white masks to represent the beauty and calm of their female ancestors. The Boer of Burkina Faso created masks shaped like birds and fish, blending human and animal spirits. Each was a reminder, man is never alone. The dead do not vanish, they listen, they guide, they correct. But what happens when the sacred is forgotten? When the dances stop, when the shrines crumble, when the new gods demand silence from the old ones? Many believe the ancestors do not rest easily. When their names are not called, when their stories fade into dust, they return through other means. Through dreams. Through sickness that no doctor can explain. Through misfortunes that follow a bloodline. In Africa, when the modern world cannot explain your pain, the elders say, return home. The ancestors are calling. In the eastern lands, among the Igbo, the mask was known as Muo, spirit. During the Odo festival, masks of the dead walk freely among the living. Villagers say these spirits come back not to harm, but to remind that life is a circle, not a straight line. The masked dancers wear heavy raffia, moving with strange energy.
To all African instant life is cyclical, like I said. It's not linear. Things work in cycles, rise and fall. There's no such thing as death. But see, the European being cyclical in mind, in nature, because he's a psychopath and a created creature, this knowledge does not exist in him. So he didn't understand what these Africans were doing with all these masks when they came into Kenya and Tanzania. They wouldn't name that them. The white man showed them. Just name it what they are today. In Uganda and Ghana and Nigeria, Guinea Faso, South Africa, all these masks. What are these niggas doing? What's all this witchcraft in Africa? They're all evil. But the Africans were not homosexuals. They wouldn't fuck each other in the butt. They wouldn't rob each other. There was no crime. Imagine that. But today you got crime, homosexual, everything. Since they took on the white man's identity, Africa's a fucking basket case. Before the white man got control, read about Africa. No crime, no poverty. Oh, there were no Kiberas, no. That's not your history. There was no poverty in Africa. So your mind can't even fathom that today. No, you ain't no poverty in no fucking Africa. How would you? It's on the richest continent. But no poverty in Africa didn't exist. No poverty, no starvation, nobody living hand to mouth, no one hungry because you got the best land, you were growing food. So there was no hunger. That didn't exist in Africa. There were no famines and shit like your goofy Bible saying. How could it be? You had the best land, so you were always farming. So there was no starvation, was no jails. There wasn't even no jails in Africa. No jails. So you're talking about a righteous people. I'm gonna tell you what you lost, Africans. And you were given savage culture by savages. You had no prisons, they didn't exist. So it means you didn't have any crime because your people were spiritually righteous. You had no theft. Who would you need to steal from? Because everybody had. It was communal. African people are communal by nature. Europeans are selfish and thieves by nature. But your history's been taken away from you. We say, well, we didn't have prisons. No, why would you? Who would go to prison? You shared everything. You didn't hoard shit. There was no slums. Now you got slums all throughout Africa. Why? Because the white man, moron, you gave up being African. And the Arab, you took their culture. Women weren't pushed to the back. Women weren't wrapped up like mummies and shit. Those are other lesser people's culture that you've taken over, and it's fucked up Africa. Africa's fucked up. Know why? Because you're non-Africans now. That's why. Why you got prisons, theft, poverty, starvation, because you got non-African cultures. Everybody knows it. I'm not the only one that said that. That's a fact. Go ahead, Joe.
Voices are distorted, unrecognizable. For those few days, the boundary between worlds dissolves. Even those who left the village long ago, men who became Christians, scholars, and city dwellers, still dream of the festival. Something ancient stirs within them, something their ancestors will not let go. Across Africa, the forest is never just a place of trees. It is a living temple, a dwelling of spirits and the birthplace of masks. When a carver enters the forest to find the right wood, he does not simply choose. He listens. He waits for the tree that calls him. He offers cola nuts and prayers, asking.
What happened when the white man showed up? Oh, he started cutting down all the trees in Africa for money. Africa knew trees and forests are spiritual places. White people don't. White people don't give a fuck about nothing. Talking about a savage. All the trees getting cut down. Go ahead.
For he knows, if the tree is unwilling, the mask will carry a cursed spirit. We do not make masks. We release them. The mask is not worn for beauty. It is worn for communion. When you wear it, do not think you are dancing. You are speaking the language of spirits. And they will answer. What the West calls myth, Africa calls memory. Because long before paper, television, and archives, masks preserved the living archives of the people. Through ritual and movement, they stored knowledge, spiritual, social, and historical. The Ugandan reminded people of moral law. The Dogon masks taught cosmic order. The Benin masks guarded royal authority. And the Odo masks preserved ancestral honor. Together, they formed an invisible network, a spiritual web connecting millions across time and tribes. Even today, when an African walks with confidence, speaks with the rhythm of proverbs, or feels unseen protection in danger, they say it is the hand of the ancestors still walking beside them. But the sacred masks did not survive untouched. When foreign ships arrived and missionaries burned shrines, thousands of masks were taken,
missionaries,
Europe and America, placed in museums and labeled primitive art. What the world saw as relics.
The missionaries came and burned your shit down. But in your goofy books, the missionaries came to help us steal all our shit and burn shit down, and then teach us to be savage like them. Go ahead, Joe.
Spirits trapped behind glass, stripped of worship, waiting for home. There are stories whispered by night guards in museums, of strange sounds, shifting shadows, eyes that seem to follow them. Of cold winds that blow even when the doors are sealed. They say some masks refuse to sleep. You may not believe it, but in Paris, a curator once claimed he heard drumming beneath the floor after receiving a shipment of Benin bronzes. In London, an African mask once fell from its case during a storm, though no wind entered the room. And in Lagos, a priest dreamt of a mask calling to him from across the ocean, asking to be brought home. It is said that every mask has a heartbeat. Even in silence, it waits for rhythm, for the call of the drum that will awaken it again. Perhaps that is why, in every African gathering, from weddings to funerals, from protests to festivals, the drum still beats. Because somewhere deep inside, Africa remembers. The ancestors are not gone, only waiting. And so the question remains. When we dance today, when we celebrate our heritage, our music, our pride, are we simply remembering the past? Or are we unknowingly keeping the ancestors alive? For the African spirit, death is not an end. It is a
You're
return.
the answers. Exactly. You're the answers.
Purpose.
Exactly. Father, you are the answers. Those things are answers. You are them. Those things is death. So the ancestors are you. Because the energy cannot be destroyed or created. You are your own ancestors. They are you. But and the white people shit since they're fucked up in the head. Asians and fake ass white Arabs are not even Arabs. Shout out to that going on again too, showing that. Told you, white people are there, they're not Arabs. Another Caucasian race that came down and claimed the culture that wasn't them. But there was a way of connecting to spirit on an eternal level because you don't die. That's all. You don't die. So it's always science. But science, under any of things, that they're not spiritual. What Africans called science, it was named spirituality, which is science. And the funny thing about the African spirituality, it's been proven. It's proven through science that it's real. Prove that Allah bullshit ain't real, that Christianity bullshit ain't real. It's all fake. But African spiritual science, they thought was evil, is actually science. It's real. It can be quantified. Go ahead, Joey.
Names. And when the dancer lifts the mask, when the drum calls and the dust rises, for a brief moment, the ancestors walk again. They never truly left us. They are here, watching, listening, waiting for the next dance. They never truly left us. The ancestors are still here. In the quiet spaces between our words, in the dreams that stir us awake at night, in the sudden wind that blows through a room with no open window, their presence lingers. Africa, the oldest cradle of humanity, still breathes through its
How
memory,
about that?
through rituals, stories, and masks that remember even when men forget. In the western forests of Nigeria, a young boy once followed his grandfather into the grove of the Igungan, the sacred grove where the ancestors awaken each year. The boy had been warned never to follow, for the place was forbidden to uninitiated eyes. But curiosity burns hotter than fear. He hid behind the trees, watching. There were no dancers yet, no crowd, only his grandfather, old, frail, carrying a wooden box wrapped in white cloth. He opened it and began to speak in tongues, words the boy did not know, yet somehow understood deep in his bones. Then it happened. The ground trembled. A faint wind rose from nowhere. The box opened wider, revealing a mask, ancient, dark, alive. When his grandfather lifted it to his face, he did not just wear it. He became something else. His back straightened, his voice deepened, his eyes burned with light. The boy ran. He swore never to speak of it. But years later, when his grandfather died, he dreamt of that same mask floating before him, whispering, "Do not run from where you come from." There are stories like this across Africa, stories the modern world dismisses as superstition. But those who know, those who have seen, understand that the veil between life and death is not closed.
It's
It
thin.
merely shifts.
Exactly.
In Ghana, among the Ashanti, a widow once
Letting you know
reported
that-
strange happenings.
Letting you know that this is an illusion. This is an illusion we're living in. That's why there's no veil between what you call death and living, because they're not separated once you understand that. And that every object carries energy of whoever held it, whoever touched it. It's energy. That's what you call ghost in a house. Energetic. If something bad happens in the house, you feel that bad energy. Energy can never be destroyed. So when you put on that mask, it is carrying the energy of maybe someone who had it before you. So you can transfer that knowledge to you. That's all. It just, if you understand how energy works, that's why Dr. Ibn Turay, going back to teach the curriculum, you gotta be taught what energy is again. And stop listening to white people who don't know shit. Try to teach you about how shit works. And there's a baby. You learn it from a childlike people who started 2 days ago. Who are non-spiritual because they're non-melanated. So it's like having a child trying to teach an adult some shit. You're the adult. Europeans, the Asians, those are children. They just got it 2 days ago. Hell, a child gonna teach an adult something about life, how things actually work. But that's what you did. Go ahead, Joe.
Each night, she heard drumming outside her window. Each morning, the ground bore footprints though no one was there. She went to the village priest, who told her, "Your husband is not gone. You buried his body, not his duty." When they opened the family chest, where the ancestral mask was kept, it was warm to the touch, though no one had lit a fire. The priest smiled and said, "He has returned to watch over you." From that night onward, the drumming stopped. Peace returned. The ancestors were appeased. The truth is simple but frightening. Ancestral spirits walk among us because the living have forgotten their ways. When the sacred drums are silent, the ancestors call through other means, through illness, strange coincidences, visions, or misfortune. To the outsider, these are random. To the African, they are messages. Even in modern cities, Lagos, Accra, Nairobi, Johannesburg, the old world breathes beneath the asphalt. A mechanic in Surulere once refused to work on a car because the number plate called his late father's name in numerology. A banker in Accra said her dreams guided her stock decisions, dreams that came from her grandmother, dead for 40 years. And in Cameroon, a young artist woke up one morning painting ancient mask patterns he'd never seen before. When an elder visited his exhibition, he gasped. These are symbols from our ancestors' lost shrine, destroyed a century ago. Coincidence?
Destroyed by the white man.
Returning? You see, in Africa, the spiritual does not vanish. It adapts. The sacred mask may no longer dance in the village square, but its essence hides in the rhythm of Afrobeat, in the patterns of Ankara cloth, in the symbols tattooed by youth who never learned their meanings. The ancestors are not bound to rituals alone. They live through expression, through blood memory. Every drumbeat, every song that rises from African soil, even in the clubs, even through electric speakers, carries an ancient echo. Listen closely. You will hear it. the pulse of the old world beating through the new. Yet not all ancestors rest easily. Thousands of sacred masks remain in exile, trapped behind glass in foreign museums. But some say the spirits within those masks still wander at night. In Paris, a guard once reported seeing faint light glowing from the eyes of a Benin ivory mask after hours. In New York, a Dogon Khan Aga mask vibrated slightly during a blackout, no machines near it. And in a museum basement in Berlin, the staff heard chanting one night, soft, rhythmic, unmistakably African. When they checked the security footage, they found nothing. But the next morning, a message had appeared in the dust beneath the mask case. Bring me home. Some African spiritualists believe these masks are restless because their link to the living has been broken. Without ritual, the spirit bound to the mask loses peace. It becomes a wanderer, neither ancestor nor ghost, seeking recognition. That is why, across the continent, movements have begun to reclaim sacred artifacts from abroad. But it is not just about culture or politics. It is about restoring spiritual balance. Because as long as ancestral faces remain imprisoned far from the soil that birthed them, Africa's spirit remains divided. Still, hope rises. In villages and cities alike, young Africans are reviving the old dances. They create festivals that blend the sacred and the modern. Afrobeat meets Igungan, ancestral chants meet trap drums. And when the masked dancers spin beneath neon lights, something powerful happens. The crowd goes silent for a heartbeat, as if the ancestors themselves are watching. Some elders say, when the youth remember the rhythm, the ancestors smile again. Let me tell you another story, one whispered among the Bantu. A hunter named McKenna disappeared in the forest after killing a sacred antelope. For 3 days, the villagers searched, nothing. On the 4th night, his wife dreamt of a mask with red feathers and eyes like fire. The mask spoke. Your husband broke the law of balance. Bring a drum to the forest, and he will be returned. The next day, the villagers gathered and played the drum by the riverbank. As the rhythm rose, a shadow emerged from the trees. It was McKenna. He fell to his knees, trembling, saying he had seen the ancestors dancing in circles, warning him never to harm sacred creatures again. When he returned home, he carved the mask from his dream and hung it above his door. For the rest of his life, no wild animal entered his compound. Not even snakes. Every mask tells a story. Some are warnings. Some are protection. Some are mirrors, showing us who we truly are. But they all carry one truth. The ancestors still walk among us because we are their continuation. Our bodies are their clay. Our memories, their voices. Our dreams, their path. In Uganda, during the Imbalu initiation, young men wear symbolic masks before circumcision. It is said that the mask gives them courage, and the spirit of warriors past enters them for strength. In Tanzania, the Makan masks are used to speak with ancestral spirits, to settle disputes and heal sickness. One elder said, when you carve a mask, you carve...
See, that's why you see this is continent-wide, because of the same people. Sometimes they would do it for different identities and different meaning. But the main thing is Kenya to Uganda to Ghana. Because
you're breaking. You're breaking.
A bridge. Step upon it carefully, for it does not lead to earth, but to memory. And in South Africa, the Zulu Sangoma, the traditional healer, wears beadwork and painted faces that echo mask symbolism. When she dances, possessed by the spirits of her forebears, her eyes roll back, her voice changes. To outsiders it looks like trance. To Africans, it is lineage, the living and the dead joining hands again. But not every return is peaceful. Sometimes, when ancestral laws are broken, the masks turn from protectors to judges. In a village near Oyo, Nigeria, a man stole an ancient mask from a shrine to sell to tourists. Within days, he fell ill. Doctors found nothing wrong. He confessed to an elder, who took him to the grove for cleansing. There, he returned the mask and offered palm wine and prayers. That night, he dreamt of an old man smiling, saying, "You have learned. Do not forget again." By morning, his fever was gone. The mask, they say, had forgiven him. These are not ghost stories. They are reminders that in Africa, the spiritual world is woven into the everyday. To ignore it is to forget half of reality. That is why elders still pour libation before speaking in public. Why even powerful leaders consult oracles quietly. Why a grandmother whispers prayers to her late husband before cooking for the family. Because they know, the ancestors are not gone. They are listening. In the modern age, our masks have changed form. They are no longer just carved wood, they are digital profiles, symbols, faces we show to the world. But even in this new mask of technology, the old spirit hides. The desire to remember, to honor, to connect, it is the same heartbeat, pulsing across time. And maybe that is why African storytelling, music, and dance still move the world. Because when Africa speaks, the ancestors speak through her. Once, a Nigerian filmmaker visited his ancestral village after 20 years abroad. He brought cameras, drones, and modern gear. But when he entered the old family compound, his battery died instantly. No matter how many replacements he used, the devices failed. An elder laughed and said, "Your ancestors do not want to be filmed."
Exactly, which is something we see every single time white people, especially when they're in Africa, always going to places where people don't know anything about the internet, phones, smartphones, nothing, the cameras. People are just so still very much in tuned into their spiritual beliefs. And then you go start filming them, showing the world what these people are doing. It's very disrespectful and invasion of privacy, big time, actually invasion of privacy and culture and traditional practices. But yes, this is as you can see, this is something that, again, I believe that's what Keith wanted to say. It's something that has been living the whole of the continent of Africa, but today this is knowledge that is not there. That's why I was doing my research. I didn't even see one video which is purely explained by an African, breaking down all this information, because it's no longer there. People believe in Jesus, people know the history. Again, it's crazy how we've been made to believe that religion is our history. Sadly, Africans think that religion is our history. Christianity, religion is our history. Oh, what Jesus, like, this is what we live and feed on. And if you don't find the path of Christ by the end of your life, you're going to hell. I'm already living in hell. As they live in heaven, taking everything away from us. It's so crazy. Our history has been taken away from us so bad. And I do hope slowly people can tap into it. If I have the bits of information and the urge to know this much, so should you, as an African, so should you. You should find the need and the urge to actually want to learn about this kind of stuff, what they mean to you as an African, before you go ahead and run with the narrative that the white people have always been putting about your history. Because it's crazy, again, how white people are the ones telling us our history, yet they can't even tell their history. I always say it's funny. Isn't it funny how we don't see anywhere where there's no books claiming or telling the history of white people apart from just the Bible? Again, shows you how we're taking so much of our energy from ourselves, focusing it on the wrong people and the wrong things that don't concern us. It's so crazy. But yes, that has been my conversation for today. I really wished and hope I could have brought so much more from this, all the masks, how they look like. That is something I want to learn to, how they look like, especially where they come from, what they presented and all that. But I do believe we cannot maybe tap into so much of this information on the internet unless we tour Africa ourselves and going to these places maybe where they're still doing this kind of stuff. But as we wind up, shout out to John Mosquito, thank you for joining. Jiba Jaba, thank you for joining. You are welcome. I see you saying that you didn't know any of this. It's information we learn every single day. And Jiba says, are there ancient pyramids on other mounds in Kenya? No, we don't have them. And if they are, maybe I don't know. But says, where are the ancient white artifacts? Exactly, good question. Nowhere to be seen. How
about that?
Yeah, your closing remarks as we wrap it up with today's
closing remarks that nobody's got like some kind of vibe going on. All right, watch out. Anyway, closing remarks are the African people, you take back your identity because you're the only righteous people on the planet. And now you've been made disturbed globally. You hate each other, you hate yourselves, That's why all the discourse is going from South Africans, other Africans, Black Americans, other Africans, because you have no sense of self.
Exactly. But yes, family, that has been our time this particular morning. Wishing you guys a beautiful rest part of your morning. It's exactly 25 minutes past 3 p.m. We're coming back with the reaction time. Ensure you join me and Shmani as we react to some amazing videos. Depends what you're going to be having. It's always fun to laugh and to also having you guys on the conversation is always nice to hear you guys' opinion, because most of it actually targets you men, so ensure you join us as we react to some amazing conversations. But thank you so much for joining. Remember, you can download our app. We are available on the Google Play Store. In case you're here for the first time, kindly subscribe. We'll appreciate you joining us, and join us officially by having our app on your phone. And you can stay connected every single day so long as you are on the internet. I mean, it's 2026. Why are you not on the internet? So plug in your earphones and your earpods, and you'll be able to stream with us all throughout the day and all throughout the week. We have different conversation, not just this, back to back. So just ensure you tune in and see what's up, what's happening, and what role you can play, either requesting music or rather being on the comment section. And also, if in case you have Amazon Roku TV, we are available as well, and you can support us as well through our Cash App. We have the $ there streaming down below, the Cash App, $ Mr. Blackoutfire. Rather, on the page itself, the app, we have a donation page where you can send anything of your preference. But have yourselves a beautiful morning. See you guys later on the Africa Today show. Those will not be able to join us on the reaction time, but that has been my time. Peace again.